Tank, as a former defensive player, how good does that feel being on the Raiders side for that win? Like that's, I feel like that's just like, hey, like, let me just toss this up to you so you could just catch it and score a touchdown and kick our ass.
Honestly, I'm surprised we didn't hear any additional news coming out of Las Vegas that night after the game with the team celebrating and something happened afterwards because that ending was crazy. And I never really thought that we would have another New England Patriots game where Bill was so anxious to say on to Cincinnati, but oh yes, again, back to that dark place.
Yeah.
And I love it. But when we get to this game, as far as like the Patriots and the Cincinnati Bengals, like I'm all aboard with Jared. Like I feel like the
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati Bengals are playing some of the best ball in the AFC. If I had to pick a favorite to go to the Super Bowl and actually win it, it would be Cincinnati because they're playing with that mentality that they want every team that they face on any given Sunday to know that they're the best team out there and that they're hungry for blood. And even though they
Mm-hmm.
struggled a little bit with Tampa Bay last week, they came back and they put their foot on their throats to end that game, and they ended up with a dominant win. And that was impressive to me, especially when you see a team like Kansas City, who's still a really good team, struggle with the Texans. Like the Dolphins are actually getting back on track, but Buffalo struggled with them. Buffalo has some losses to other teams early in the season. And we could talk about the Bengals losing to the Browns, but since that loss, it seems like they just had a different mentality, especially here in December. And then that being said, I expect the New England Patriots more focused. Like the attention to detail this week in Patriots practice is going to be like none other because I'm pretty sure Bill is surprised as hell that his team, like Bill Belichick, is the king of situational football. So for one of his guys to make that egregious of a mistake at that key moment in the game, trust me, like those guys are getting drilled daily, and they're going to be on their P's and Q's once we get into this matchup with the Bengals. That being said, this isn't your same New England Patriots team. Like they're just not that good. The defense is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing that may be able to kind of level this out. Like if Uche and Judon can get constant pressure on the Cincinnati Bengals and they can replicate what the Pittsburgh Steelers did in week one and have that Bengals offense flustered, then maybe the Patriots can keep it close and we can have ourselves a game. But if Joe Burrow continues to, navigate like Neo in the Matrix, sees what the defense trying to do to him, get the ball out of his hands quickly if they're getting pressure, or see an open lane and run when you're in cover two man and just all the things necessary to keep himself clean and get the ball to his playmakers, then it's going to just be another game where the Cincinnati Bengals show that they're the best team in the league and they roll over another opponent
Mm-hmm.
that's inferior. And I do think the New England Patriots are inferior.
Yeah, Jared, the Bengals are clearly the better team in this matchup. They're gearing up for a deep playoff run at this point. The Pats will be lucky to make the postseason. I feel like their defense, though, the Patriots' defense, could keep this close. Do you still feel comfortable laying the field goal with the Bengals?
The market's telling me no. And that's, I'm a firm believer in the market. And the market in this
Mm-hmm.
spot says New England at 3.5 was kind of the bet. And at 3, we haven't seen that initial push back to 3.5, which tells me that there's not a huge appetite here to lay it with the Bengals on the road. And I understand why. If we dig into the trenches a little bit, you know me, love the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
But first, I want to give a shout to Lou Anarumo. You want to talk about a defensive mastermind. Lou Anarumo was getting his butt whipped by the Bucs in the first half of that game. He went into the halftime locker room. He made the adjustments. The Bucs did not cross midfield in the third quarter.
Crazy.
That's Tom Brady we're talking about. Did not cross midfield after Cincinnati
Yeah.
made their proper adjustments at
Mm-hmm.
halftime. And then you know what the final score was. It wasn't close. Cincinnati basically won
They did have some
running away.
nasty, ugly turnovers too. Like bad teams find a way to lose, and that was a bad performance by that offense
True.
too.
Yeah.
But Lou deserves a lot of credit for sure.
Lou is an absolute rock star. And if you want to talk about making a bet on Cincinnati to win anything past mid-January, I love Joe Burrow, and I think this offense is all the rage, but we see what happens in the big games when Tom Brady,
Yeah, sure.
goes up against the good defenses and when Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl goes up against the Bucs defense. So I think that's where I really like this Bengals team. On the other side of the ball, let's talk a little bit about the Patriots defensive line because I think they deserve some love too. And the Bengals offensive line, even though they've improved greatly, not very hard to improve from where they were, they're still a bottom 10 unit. And I think there's still some opportunity for this Patriots defense with Judon and Wise and, Uche, 145 combined pressures. this year between those three guys. The Patriots are third in pressure rate. The Bucs are a kind of middle of the pack pressure rate. So I do think, the heat's going to be on Joe this week. We mentioned the weather. We mentioned all of those factors on the road, silent snap counts. We'll see how he handles that. And again, Joe's been great at handling those types of things throughout the course of his career, but this is a desperation spot for New England with their backs now squarely against the wall at 500 and the AFC playoffs slipping away. Miami, of course, and then the Bills are going to run away with the division. So this is one of those spots where I can make a case at 3.5 for the Patriots. I think at 3, it's a stay away. The market is telling me that. And I'm fascinated to see the matchup on the other side of the ball for DJ Reader against a Patriots offensive line that's been good, but rookie Cole Strange, the left guard, is the one weak link. And DJ Reader, I think, is the best interior lineman playing right now in the league. That matchup, we'll see if they can scheme, if Anarumo can scheme Reader onto Strange and get that, Pro Bowler against rookie matchup that will certainly favor Cincinnati. But if the Bengals can hold up in protection, I think they've got a chance here, but I don't feel comfortable laying 3.